What if I told you there's one asset that you can create for your coaching or consulting business that will pre-sell your high ticket offers 24/7. It'll nurture leads while you sleep and ultimately turn casual followers into ready to buy clients who reach out in the DMs and you can close them without getting on sales calls. Okay. Well, in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to create what I call a rabbit hole resource. And this asset does exactly that. You put your energy in to build it once and it runs 24/7, 365 while you do whatever you want. Okay. This is critical if you want to be able to eliminate sales calls in your coaching or consulting business in 2025. All right. We are going to cover exactly what to include in this resource. We're going to cover how to distribute it in order to get mass eyeballs on this asset quickly and get it running and doing what it does best. And we're going to cover the common mistakes to avoid while you're integrating this into your business so that you can get the benefits from it as quickly as possible. As we go through it, I'm going to walk you through my own example that I use every single day in my business, and it's working right now in 2025. Plus, I'm going to show you how to create one that fits your business in particular. So let's dive in. I've got my notes here, and we're going to break this all down for you. All right, so here's the core concept. Essentially, we want to build a central value asset that captures and focuses attention towards our model. Okay, so when I say our model, in your coaching or consulting business, you should have a core framework that you ultimately help clients deploy or work through or follow that takes them from where they are now to where they ultimately want to be, with points A and B being the bookends of the transformation that you provide your clients. Okay, if you don't have this, something we need to build, and we can talk about that in a separate video. But this resource, this asset, is designed to get attention and then focus it towards this model. Because when we get people understanding our model and showing them how we can take them from A to B and our approach and our methodology and our intellectual property, it goes a very, very long way to them ultimately wanting to become a client. Okay. Now, what we want this asset and this resource to do is, while it's presenting our model and while it's educating people on our model, we want it to provide a variety of pathways for exploration, research, and consumption for the prospect that ultimately drives time together through the consumption. The more time we can spend with them, the more time they spend reading our work, going through our assets, deploying the things that we give them, watching videos, listening to podcasts, the more time spent together, the more weight that your content and your ecosystem will take off your sales process, which means that your deals are going to close more easily, even at the multi-five figure mark. Okay. This is going to build relationships and connection with your audience at scale, 24/7, 365. All right. I consider this a new type of lead magnet. All right. The lead magnets of old are quite surface level, give people half the picture, give them like a tiny little taste and then sell them the rest. This takes a very, very different approach. This is about deeply educating people on what we do and how we do it so that they can ultimately decide through our content without needing a 60-minute sales call if they want to work with us in order to implement it. Okay. Like I said, we want it to do a deep dive into our methodology. We want it to aggressively pre-sell through massive value, right? We want it to create an ecosystem effect through strategic linking where people can go and download and explore different things. I'm going to show you real life examples of all this. We want it running 24/7. So we want this in people's hands all the time. We want it getting into the hands of the people already in our world and new people coming into our world. We want them exploring this. And I've got strategies and tactics for you to be able to do this. And ultimately, this can really serve as a central hub in your content ecosystem for the people who haven't yet taken the step to become a client. We want to build pathways that all lead back to here so that we can really drive up that consumption time because of the benefits that has when it comes to selling. Okay, so I've got a real world example for you here. If you want to get your hands on this, the first link, you'll be able to enter your email and get it. You'll be able to benefit from it in two ways. One, the content inside it, if you're a coach or consultant, is going to be incredibly valuable. I've sold over $6 million of coaching and consulting online, and this is a very, very valuable asset. The second way that you're going to be able to learn from it is by seeing how I've built this so that you can go and create something similar for your own business. Okay, so first link in the description, enter your email, you'll get a copy of it right away. Okay, so what are the key components? We're going to be jumping back and forth between the notes here, which really talk to, the key elements, and then I'm going to walk you through in real time the example. Okay, so really, there's three main core components that we want to integrate into this. Okay, we want it to, as a priority, demonstrate our core model. Okay, we want to include visual frameworks. We want to make sure it's crystal clear what the key pillars are that we work through with our clients. We want to demonstrate our implementation methodology. So how do we actually implement this, like real, practical, tangible shit? And we want to show people that, we've got our own unique approach. We've developed our own intellectual property, because the people that have done that are subject matter experts and they've got real results. Okay, so if we talk about this first point in particular, and then we jump over to our example here, this is called the Lifestyle Consulting Business Playbook. What I do in my business is help people start and grow lifestyle consulting businesses. Okay, there's links in the description. If you're under 10K a month, I do this inside my Lifestyle Business Academy. If you're over 10K a month, we do this inside my inner circle. Okay, and so I've got a model that I've developed through the sale of over $6 million that I'm really proud of, and I love it, and it helps my clients out a lot. Okay, and so that's what I break down in a lot of detail in this document. Okay, it's helped my clients sell many, many more millions. All right, and so we just get straight into it. Right, the first part is a little bit of, I guess, philosophy and context and principles and values about how I approach things, so that people can quickly decide if this is for them or not, right? So I say my clients and I refuse to be chained to our desks all day, stuck on Zoom call for hours on end, stressed 24/7 from bloated operating costs, hard sell and twist clients' arms, all right? So this is my approach to consulting. I want to build a business that's low stress, lean, simple, efficient, and gives me a lot of time to do the things that I want to do outside the business, while also allowing me to work with the clients that I want to work with within the business. Okay, so people are either going to resonate with these or they're not. Right? The model rejects these things, and instead it focuses on high leverage and a lot of free time for the founder, you, right? Building a marketing ecosystem that grows and nurtures 24/7 on near autopilot, and the asset that we're going through right now is a key part of that. A lean team with lean costs to keep the business simple and nimble, right? High fixed costs in life and or in business will get you stuck, all right? Engineering a marketing system that means we don't need to hard sell and can consistently sign 4 and 5 figure clients without sales calls. This is a big one. I don't want a calendar full of sales calls, nor do I want to manage a team of setters and closers. This is just how I approach things. People will either vibe with that or they won't. And then I want to be able to ultimately run everything in a few hours per day. This doesn't mean we're lazy. This doesn't mean that, we don't work on other things, but I like to be able to scale up and scale back my hours. And so I want it lean, tight, and efficient, so that if I don't feel like it, I can do it in a couple of hours a day and I can go do other things. Okay. So very quickly, we put it on the table, what it's all about. And people are either going to read that and go, shit, that sounds amazing, let's dive in. Or they're going to go, that doesn't really resonate with me, I want blank, and they're going to leave, which is great too. Through putting our values and principles on the table, we want to attract as much as we repel, right? And so you want to, you don't want to sit on the fence with this shit. You want to put it on the table and be like, this is how I do things. If you love it, great, come along. If you don't, no one's holding you here to consume this stuff. Okay. And so for the people that really vibe, we get straight into the model, right? Which is the number one core point here. And as we go through this, you're going to notice all of these elements. You're going to see the visual frameworks, the key components, the implementation approach, and the intellectual property that is layered in. And so I talk about the overall model and the core pillars of it, right? Top of the funnel, the middle of the funnel, the bottom of funnel. And then with that on the table, I do a deep dive into each of these components, right? And so I break down how we use Facebook, my profile, my content strategy. I give examples, and this is where the rabbit hole piece starts to kick in. I link off here, right? Now folks have got a ton of content examples that they can go through. They can see examples of content that I call who you are content, and they can see examples of what you do content. Okay. Now the second or third or whatever layer to this that's really cool is that when folks click on a post and start reading it, they're now starting to consume content on another platform. So whether they followed me on that platform or not, this is encouraging people through this pathway to move into different parts of your ecosystem very, very organically and very naturally. It's not like, hey, make sure you come follow me on Facebook and Instagram and like all this like forced shit. It's like, well, I'm providing value on this platform and here's an example of it. And so you can come follow me if you want to, check it out. Okay. So that's an example of a rabbit hole where you send people down and then they're off onto another platform, right? So let's say you found me on YouTube and this is the only place that we're connected so far. You might then enter your email and download this, right? Now, when it comes to my ecosystem, you're on my email list, YouTube 1, email list 2, and then you see these and now we're connected on Facebook and you're reading my content over there. All of a sudden now from a branding and a marketing perspective, we have a lot more different touch points that we can leverage. And each platform you're going to leverage in a slightly different way. You're going to create different types of content, different media, all these kind of things. And so it's powerful if people follow us in different places. Okay, so that's the first example of a little rabbit hole within this, right? You can see here I give people an example cadence. So this is like very practical, real shit that they can go and do, right? Another example here, link. I'm not going to click on this because it's a video, but links off to a Loom video where I do a deep dive on this. I also hook people up with deeper dive resources on particular components, right? So this goes into a deep dive on my content strategy with more content examples, etc., etc. So what's going to happen is as people move through this in their mind, they're going to think, I really need help with A, B, C, D, whatever. And they're going to particularly focus on the elements that really resonate with them. That's not to say they won't read the whole thing, but they're going to dive into the elements that they really, really want help with. Okay. Here's another example of a rabbit hole, but this one's a paid one. Okay. So if folks want to go even deeper into a particular topic, there's these low ticket offers in here where they can come over, click grab a seat and spend $100. And so if they really, really want to get, into the weeds when it comes to content strategy, they can spend $100 and they're going to have a great time. Okay. So that's another example of a rabbit hole. So it can be, additional trainings. It can be real-time examples. It can be low-ticket paid offers. But you'll notice the common theme is that all of them are engineering more time spent together because the goal is to ultimately sign 4 and 5 figure clients. And the key to doing that without needing to spend ages on the phone is you need to spend time with your prospects in the marketing. Okay, this is the distinction between a marketing-driven coaching or consulting business and a sales-driven coaching or consulting business. We have to engineer consumption. Okay, we'll keep going through. I'm talking about stories here. You'll see links off to offer documents. People can literally come in here, and if they vibe with it, they can enroll. They can apply. There's SOPs, so they can literally take this, give it to their team, or they can take it and follow it and like get real. This isn't like surface level kind of shit. This is like real examples, paid media campaigns, okay, other growth strategies. And so you can see when we talk about this first point here, I've introduced the model, right? And I'm going through the core components. We've also started to go into this piece as well, which is strategic content links, free resources, social media platforms. We've got content on other things, additional trainings, relevant case studies, proof and results. We can put in here, down here, we're talking about low ticket products. There'll be links off to my free resource community, all these kind of things, right? And so the whole goal is that you create this one hub that aggressively indoctrinates people into your world. You create this thing that people will come back to again and again and again and again, right? You can see here, I'm talking about how I run my Facebook group with like real-time examples, how I do email marketing, how I approach YouTube, another link off to a workshop, how I tackle low-ticket offers, examples. Like down to, this is how the sales page is done, right? How to create good low ticket offers. This is very, very detailed stuff. People can take this and implement it and make money with it, right? And that's the goal, because I've seen it, and I've seen it time and time again. I know if they take this, make money with it, it's only a matter of time before they become a client, either in the academy or in my inner circle. Okay? If we can keep moving through, right? I want to jump back to our notes quickly, make sure we stay on track. All right? So these are the 3 core components: the model, strategic content links so that people have more stuff to consume, and then integrating additional conversion pathways. Okay, so you'll see in there I linked off to the academy. There's links off to apply to become a client at a higher level in my inner circle. We've got the low ticket things. I run a free resource community. There's a link to that in the description if you want to join, and people can get more resources in there. All these kind of things, making it very clear that if they're on the edge about a next step, there's options that people can consider based on their own situation, budget, timing, goals, all that kind of stuff. And so if we're ticking these 3 boxes at the same time as delivering a ton of value, you're on your way to having a very, very nicely packaged resource of this kind. Okay, don't bomb it with these and go light on the value up here. If people download something and it's just like a 3-page thing with 400 links off to all different offers, it's not going to hit the mark. It needs to stand on its own 2 feet. It needs to provide options for people to explore incremental value. And then naturally, as part of that, you can integrate different conversion pathways. Okay. So we can keep scrolling, but you can just see, I'm just breaking down, part 3, bottom of the funnel. I've got examples, scripts, templates, the conversation, following up, and then I ultimately tie it all together at the end, right? Like I said, first link in the description, you can get your hands on this for free. Okay, so that's the first part around building it. How long should it be? It really depends on a case by case. We can work on this together and build it if you jump into either the academy or inner circle. But look at mine, look at the level of detail and think, would somebody be happy if they'd paid for this? I think that's a really good test. Think, can they take this and start getting results? It doesn't mean you have to, they don't have to scale their business to $100,000 a month off your free reason. But is there stuff in there here that they can actually go and implement? Okay. Because I can tell you this, if you set off light bulbs for people and you actually get them to do things through your free content, they will bond with your brand a lot more aggressively than just like high level fluffy stuff. Okay. And so that aggressive bonding will obviously lead to more conversions down the line. All right. I think that covers the point around building it out. You guys have got a real-time example. Make sure that you're heavy on the value, and then you can naturally integrate those different pathways. All right. I want to spend some time talking about distribution and implementation. Okay. So when you've built this out, right, how do we actually get this into people's hands? There's quite a few different ways that we can do it. All right. Well, the first one is bake it into your website, obviously, right? So if I go over to jacobcaris.com, free content, the playbook. Okay. That's the link you'll be able to see below. They can get it. That's one. Very simple, static link. Set it up, let it be. Okay. Email lead magnet. All right. Now we could link these two, and we could probably link this one as well. But essentially, you set up a page for it, like I just showed you, and then we run traffic to it. Okay. We can link traffic to it off our social media content. So if you mention it in a post, you could put a link to it under a post. You can put it under a video like I've done. You can leverage it in different pieces of content. That's one way. The other way is you can use it as a conversation starter. All right. So if I mention it in a reel, for example, or a short form video or a YouTube short or whatever, I could say, reach out to me and I'll send you a copy. Okay. This ultimately achieves the same thing where someone gets it, but it's just hitting a different slice of the market because a different type of person is going to reach out versus a different type of person who opts into a list. The other benefit of doing that from time to time is that now you've got DM conversations that you can dig into and see if there's an opportunity to do some work together, because people are paying attention at a certain level if they're reaching out to you for a resource like this. So it's a great way to tell who's paying attention. If you run a free community like I do, it could be a bit of a gateway asset. So when people join my community, which is called the Lifestyle Consulting Community, they get this playbook. This aggressively indoctrinates them into my way of doing things, which makes all of the resources that they'll get access to in the community even more relevant. Okay. And then one other extra idea for you. Sorry, I skipped. Skip this one. Bake it into your social media profiles so that the links are there and people can opt in whenever. And then this last one here is create micromagnets that ultimately lead to the rabbit hole resource. So an example of this is I have an ad that's running at the moment to a DM script that I call the 8-word nuclear DM. This is just one message that people can copy and paste to reignite dead conversations. Okay, so this here, let me just break this down for you. So if we dive into this and we go right down to the bottom of funnel, this is how we can unpack these things. If we go to conversations, then we go to one-page follow-up millions. Okay, so this is a one-page resource on 4 different ways to follow up in the DMs, a valuable resource on its own accord. This here is what I call the nuclear DM. Okay, and so this is a lead magnet in itself. As a bonus, I give them the entire document. Right? Now that they've got this, it's a natural pathway or a natural segue to give them the entire playbook because this is one part of it. And so when I say you can create micro magnets that lead to the rabbit hole resource, you can almost like ascend people up through your free value, right? Because purely cold people, they're going to need to warm up a bit before they go and consume 25 pages. And so we can ease them into it through progressive value. Okay. And that may sound like a lot of work, but you build these things once and then they just go, right? As long as you're pointing attention and traffic to them. Okay. So that's a few different ways that you can build it in. And then obviously, give calls to action like I have throughout this video. It doesn't have to feel forced. People aren't, no one's holding their hand and making them do it. If you want this thing, go here, right? From an implementation perspective, when it comes to building this, you really start with your core model. Okay, if you don't have a core model, you really need to design one because it's important for people to be able to see, okay, well, this is where I am. This is what I ultimately want. I can see that they're on the other side of it. What are the big steps? What are the big components? What's this path look like? It'll also give you a lot of clarity around different offers that you create, the pathway that you take your clients through, troubleshooting your own business when it comes to your offers, lots of different things. So make sure you've got a core model and that should really form the foundation of it. Okay. Then break down the key components of that model and I would make them the core content sections, right? Like over here, top of funnel, middle of funnel, bottom of funnel, right? And then they're the core sections of the resource itself. Start putting in your value and working through it methodically. And then where it makes sense, layer off to different platforms where you've got different resources. If you've got a YouTube video, if you've got another lead magnet, if you've got a community, if you've got a post here or a series of posts here or another thing that you've made or a client call that you did or a paid product, start to strategically build in the links to more free value and to paid offers, right? Then start putting it out there and notice the people that download it versus the people that become clients. If it's not causing people to tip over, we need to optimize, right? We need to run more traffic through it to get more data. We need to tweak the document itself until we start to see, hey, they downloaded this thing, they became a client. That's the feedback loop that we're ultimately looking for. And then, update it regularly, right? Once you've got this document that kind of breaks down your whole model, as you make tweaks and changes, you can just come in here and update it. It's like a mirror of what you do so that people can see in real time how you help your clients. It's an amazing, amazing thing to have, right? Anytime in a DM conversation where it's like, well, what do you do? Read this. It just cuts through the noise and it's this great thing that you build once, spend a bit of time updating, and it kind of pushes people out to all these different areas of your ecosystem. Okay, so that's the pathway I'd follow when it comes to implementation. Then just a couple of common mistakes that I really want to make sure you avoid. First one's surface level content. Okay. If you're going to do this, do it properly. You've got mine as an example. Don't half-ass it. Make sure that it is really, really valuable. Don't make it too short. Don't make it too shallow. Make it as long as it needs to be. Don't miss out big chunks and be like, I'll sell them that. Like, give them the model. If people want to take it and run with it, so be it. Okay. Let's make it strong, direct, and really, really helpful. Okay. As you go through it, make sure that you're strategically integrating all those other things. Like if there's something you can link off to, do it. It's not going to hurt anybody by having another hyperlink here. If no one clicks on it, it doesn't matter, right? Where you can go wrong with this though, is if you go too heavy on the paid stuff in there and no incremental value, or the document itself lacks value. That's where you'll go astray. So make sure that it's value first, then bake in the conversion pathways. Okay. Obviously you've got, design, all these kind of things. And then the main one that people will fall down on is they're not distributing it. If you build it, you've actually got to get it out there. And so look at all these different pathways and make it a goal to get it in new hands every single day. It's a great core focus because it'll be a leading indicator to ultimately tipping clients in. All right. When it's all said and done, if you implement this and you do it correctly, you're going to have one main asset that pre-sells your offers 24/7. You're going to have something that nurtures leads automatically. Okay. You're going to have an asset that is a real-time showcase of what you do and how you help people. It will create ready-to-buy clients. You can scale it. You do it once. You can send it to 10 million people. Okay. And it's going to massively take pressure off your sales process because now instead of handling all these questions one by one in the DMs or on a call, it's all there. All right. This is about capturing your energy in an asset and letting it do heavy lifting for you. Okay. Hopefully you got value from that one. Make sure you get a copy of this. And if you want my help building something like this out, as well as a lifestyle consulting business, if you're under 10K a month, the details for the academy are below. If you're over 10K a month, my inner circle, the details are also below for that. I appreciate you hanging out with me in this one, and I'll talk to you all soon. Cheers.